Hi everyone, welcome back to Wedding to Wednesday. Today I'm going to start off with some funny quotes from some famous figures and relationships. The first one is from somebody that I absolutely love. I think she's amazing, and it's from Michelle Obama. And she says, one of the keys to a successful marriage is separate bathrooms, if you can afford it, by the way. When he enters my bathroom, sometimes I'm like, why are you in here? And he's like, I live here. Can I enjoy my bathroom too? I think that's amazing. The second one is from Stephanie Ortiz, and she says, husband secretly lowers the thermostat and I secretly turn it back up. We both absolutely deny this. Marriage is fun. That's cool. Love that. The next one is from H. Jackson Brown Jr. And he says, remembering that creating a successful marriage is like farming. You have to start over again every single morning. That's for the farmers out there. The next one is from Rita Rudner. And she said, I love being married. It's so great to find that one special person you want to annoy for the rest of your life. And the last one is from Bill Maher. You know that there is a name for people who are always wrong about everything all of the time. Husband. Amazing. So you've been sending me in your questions, and I have to say I'm absolutely loving them. So here are some of yours. Jenny, getting married in a church beside the house. The wedding venue is an hour and 15 minutes away from the church. How do we gain the time back? You can't. Like, that's a simple answer. It's very, very hard to gain an hour and 15 minutes back. And I would always say to my couples, I would absolutely love to be able to pause the time on the day, but I can't. So I suppose there are things that you can do that will give you time, as in, be on time walking up the aisle. That's a big thing. Like, just don't be late for the church, really. Like, if you're getting married at 1 o'clock, arrive at 1 o'clock, and then you're arriving up to the top of the aisle then at about 8 minutes past, 10 past at the latest. If you're not arriving till 10 past, quarter past, you're not going to get up there for another 10 minutes after that. So being on time for the church is a big thing. I know I have said this like 150 million times before, but the meet and greet line at the end of the church when you walk out, that is, like, depending on the amount of guests you have, that can go on for 45 minutes, or at least a half an hour anyhow. So I would say if you've got a big long drive to the church, don't do that, because you're going to see all of your guests back at the hotel anyhow at the drinks reception. So I definitely wouldn't do a meet and greet if your venue's an hour and 15 minutes away. That's a long drive. I always say to my couples, like, unless... And I think an awful lot of couples don't think about this too much before the day itself. And then it's only coming up to the day they're thinking, why did we book the church so far away from the hotel? Why didn't we get married nearer to the hotel? Or why didn't we just get married in the hotel itself? And I get sometimes that you want to get married in a church and you want to have like a religious ceremony. And I also get that a bride might want to get married in her local church to her family home. But an hour and 15 minutes is a long time to be travelling, and it's a big chunk out of your day. So maybe for those who haven't booked their church yet, have a think about, how far it is to the wedding venue, because that's kind of an hour and 15 minutes that you'd like to have at your drinks reception, really, isn't it? So just be on time when you get back to the venue and get into your photographs straight away. Make sure nobody goes missing. Everybody has a plan. They know where to be. And the photographer can get straight in and get those photographs taken. And try and make sure those photographs are scheduled for a certain amount of time and that everything is done within that amount of time. Like, I would always say, give me an hour. Give me maximum an hour and I'll have everything done within that hour. Every single family photo, every single bridal party photo, all of your couple shots, and then you get back to your drinks reception and the rest of the day is yours. So just make sure family members know where to be, bridal party know where to be. And if anyone goes missing, tell them to go home. To just be on time. Jenny, we don't arrive back to the wedding venue until 3:45 p.m. and they are ringing the dinner bell at 5:15. How do we make the most of the time we have and get all of the photos needed? Well, kind of much like that previous question there, you need to be organised. Like, this is an event that you're organising. I know it's your wedding day, but it's also an event. And if you're not on time, you're not going to get any time at your drinks reception, and that's going to annoy you for the rest of your life. So just be organised, make sure everybody knows where they're going, where the photographs are taking place. Speak to your photographer. That's a big thing. Have communication with your photographer and make sure that they're on the same page that you're on, that you need time at your drinks reception and you want these photographs taken between this time and this time. Just be organised. I can't emphasise that enough. I have 4 bridesmaids and my husband has 2 groomsmen. How is this going to look in our photos? Look, if they're the people that you have chosen to be by your side on the wedding day, that is your bridal party. And honestly, the amount of my own couples who would say this to me, that they're just worried that it's going to look, the photos are going to look imbalanced. You're overthinking that. You're overthinking the photos. So yeah, it is obviously going to look unbalanced, but you don't have to have the perfect bridal party. I would not be asking anybody to be part of the bridal party if you don't want them in it, you know? So surround yourself with the people who you want with you on the day, and they are the photos that you're going to have. And I would also suggest that, you know, you get your photographer to take photographs of you and the bridesmaids, and possibly individually with the bridesmaids as well. And the same for the lads. And then you're going to have a photograph of you with each one of those bridal party members. And they're lovely pictures to have. So please, and for everyone who's in the same situation, don't be worried about a bridal party looking uneven. Okay? Wedding dress regrets. I've had a few of these questions over and I've never read them out, but I'm going to say it today. I've completely gone off my wedding dress. I didn't feel 100% when I picked it, and I now dislike it immensely. What am I going to do? What should I do? Oh, like that's a tough one, because sometimes you go and you pick your wedding dress and, you know, you think you've gone off it, but actually when it all comes together on the wedding day, it's fabulous. A few of the things I would suggest is don't, I know like your like I have a friend Sinead who looks after foundation underwear for underneath your wedding dress, and she would always sort of say, show me a picture of the dress so that she can see what the back of it is like, so she can see where, you know, her underwear is going to complement your dress. So it is important, I suppose, to have a photograph of it. But sometimes that can be a nightmare because you're looking back through the photograph all the time and you're going to get sick of looking at it. So sometimes that can be an issue. So if you weren't 100% when you picked it, like you have to be 100% when you're picking your wedding dress. You do need to feel, oh my God, I feel amazing. And you feel amazing in a wedding dress and your hair and your makeup isn't even done. Can you imagine how you're going to feel when that's done? But if you're not feeling 100% when you've picked your dress and now you dislike it immensely, you're going to have to get another one. There's no point in getting married in that wedding dress. You're going to really dislike your photos because you're not going to like yourself in your photos. So for those of you who've picked your wedding dress and you're feeling like that, now I haven't come across somebody who's, you know, like feeling that strongly about their wedding dress before. And I had to read this one out because that's a difficult one. You need to pick a different dress. And I know that that's a very harsh thing for me to say, but if you're not 100%, even when you tried it on for the first time, you're going to really dislike that dress. And for all of those other people who have sent me messages about not loving their wedding dress, most, I'd say 95% of people love it on the day, you know, when everything comes together. So, you know, have a good think about it. Go back and try it on. Put your hair up, put your hair down, you know, bring accessories with you, like earrings with you. Obviously, you need to have your shoes with you on the day, but bring other things that are going to enhance the wedding dress as well, and see how you feel about it then. Don't bring 5 different people to have all of their opinions on it either. Just bring a couple of people that you absolutely trust. Because your wedding dress is probably the most expensive garment that you're ever going to wear, you know, and you need to absolutely love the dress because that's what everybody's going to look at when you walk up the aisle. They're going to look at the dress, they're going to admire you in it, and it's a big thing, you know. What are the 10 biggest regrets that brides have over their own wedding? Wedding day regrets, everyone has them. So learn from everybody else. These are the 10 biggest regrets that brides have on or after their wedding day. Number 1, Wearing uncomfortable wedding shoes all day long. Like you've heard me speaking about wedding shoes. Seriously, like if you want to buy a lovely, fabulous looking pair of wedding shoes, buy them. But you also need to have a comfortable pair of wedding shoes that you're going to be wearing for a lot of the day when you're having your photographs taken. That is absolutely essential. And you know, this is something that I found on the internet. So lots of people have that regret after the wedding day. There's nothing worse than walking around in uncomfortable shoes. I've done it myself, you know. Not retouching and fixing makeup and hair. And then brides end up disliking their photos because of it. Now, I am a devil for this. So I would always carry my bride's lipstick in. I have a bum bag that I kind of keep on me on a wedding day, and I keep her lipstick in that. And if there are any other items that she's going to want to use, I'll keep them in my bum bag because I'm with her all the time. I don't take her out of my eye line at all. Even when I'm off photographing the drinks reception. Drinking the drinks reception, I'd love that. But when I'm off at the drinks reception, I'm always making sure that my bride is in my eye line in case she needs anything. So just absolutely touch up your lips, you know, make sure you look in the mirror every now and again because you're going to be kissing your other half and sometimes your lipstick gets wiped off you. And you want to make sure that your makeup is topped up all day long. So that's, you know, a big regret that brides have. For those who had a cash bar, now listen to this. Limiting the selection is much better than just opening up the bar completely. So having Prosecco and beer with your compliments, but just don't open it up completely. That is a regret that couples have. So unless you're absolutely loaded and you can afford to have a cash bar that's just open to everybody all day long, I definitely wouldn't do it because at a drinks reception, you want people to have a few drinks and enjoy the drinks reception, but then you want them to go in and enjoy the food as well. And I sometimes find when there's an open cash bar, things can get a little bit hectic and people don't really enjoy their dinner as much as they should because they've too much drink on them. So I definitely agree with that entirely. And that's a regret that brides and grooms have after their big day. You don't want to rush your photography session, but you also don't want to make your guests wait too long to eat. So if there's an open bar, make sure you're serving appetizers now and have a vegetable and cheese table. Whatever about the vegetable and cheese table, I would definitely say you need to serve appetizers. You definitely need to have canapes and finger food going around your drinks reception. I have been to weddings where they haven't had that, and your guests are absolutely starving. So by the time they sit down for their food, I always know when guests are starving because they, you know, before the bride and groom are announced into the room for the meal, they're eating the bread roll on the side of the plate. So really, you do need to serve up canapes at your drinks reception. I think it's an absolute must. So if you have to pull back on something else at your wedding, that for me is a must. You must give them something to keep them going until they eat. And that's a regret that brides and grooms have. Not hiring a professional photographer. Now, this actually happens more than you know. And I know that a lot of the weddings you've been to, the couple have a professional photographer, but the amount of people that go, oh, sure, Uncle Jimmy has a great camera and he takes lovely photos. And any of the photos that you've seen Uncle Jimmy taken are lovely, but has he ever shot a wedding? Never, ever, ever. Go for somebody who's just good with the camera, because if they're not a professional wedding photographer, they should not be photographing your wedding. Something will go missing. If they're a family member, an uncle, what's going to happen is they'll be big into it, before the ceremony, during the ceremony. Then they'll get a few family photographs afterwards, and then they kind of start to lose interest because their brothers and sisters are over there having a great time and having a few drinks, and they want to be with them. And something always gets missed. So definitely hire a professional photographer. And even if you have to pull back on something else, that is essential. And that is a regret that they have. And why did I trash my dress? This is another one. You don't see this happening too often, but there are photographers out there who love to trash the dress the next day. They'll take a couple down to a beach area and they'll get some gorgeous photos of them walking along in the water with the dress on that they paid $5,000 for. Why? I never get it. So that is a regret that people have. Drinking too much alcohol and not enjoying the full day. So this can be a big thing. Look, girls and boys, a glass of Prosecco on the morning, or sometimes I see the lads having a whiskey or a brandy, like somebody might buy a bottle of brandy on the morning. And that's a big thing, especially when I go down the country. It's a big thing, or a bottle of whiskey. But they'll have a shot of it, on the morning. They're not going to drink like 3 glasses of it or 4 glasses, because that's not a good idea either. But drinking too much throughout the drinks reception, first of all, you don't want to get tipsy before you go in for your meal. And it's also going to dehydrate you and give you a headache. So that's a regret that couples have, drinking too much during the day, not eating properly. So I spoke about this in another podcast because I was too excited. I didn't eat my main meal either. The amount of times I see this happening, even a wedding I did the other day at the weekend, I went up to just say something to the bride at the top table, and almost her full meal was on the plate. And she said, "Oh no, I'm full." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And it wasn't that she was full. I'd say just the anticipation and the adrenaline was just keeping her going. And she didn't eat her meal on the wedding day. Enjoy your meal on your wedding day. Sit up at the top table. Your table's going to get served first. And mindfully eat the meal as you're looking around the room and enjoying looking at all of your guests having a great time. Eat your food, honestly. And that's a regret that they have as well, not eating their meal. I felt pressure to invite people I didn't want there. This is a big thing for me, by the way. I'm going to talk about this in a sec. Why did I do this? I left people out that I would have preferred to have there. So, there is pressure put on brides and grooms and couples getting married that they have to have this person there and that person there. And sometimes it's parents who might put that pressure on, or siblings who put the pressure on, or they might feel the pressure themselves to ask people that they don't really see, but they're vaguely related to them, when they really would have wanted to have closer friends there to them that they see much more regularly. If you don't want people at your wedding, and you're paying for the wedding yourself, well then, if you feel you're going to regret that afterwards, don't invite them. It's as simple as. If your parents have a strong want to have particular people there at the wedding day, pardon me, and they are contributing to the wedding, well then that's a discussion you need to have with them. But if you feel huge pressure to have people there and you wanted to have somebody else there that's more important to you, that's your question answered, really, Another regret, we didn't hire a videographer, and regret this so much now. I have this conversation with so many people who, even coming up to the wedding day, are thinking, "Oh my God, we just don't want a video in our face all day." And then after the day, they regret it. So have a serious think about, looking at that video in 10 years' time, 20 years' time. For us, we had a videographer do our wedding, and it was the best thing. We weren't actually going to do it. And Martin works in the television industry, and we could have had anybody do the video for us on the day. We weren't going to bother. And we ended up having a videographer. And honest to God, to this day, I am so grateful to Keith Malone, who was our videographer, because he captured so many beautiful memories on the wedding day. And it's so nice now to look back and see our day happening all over again. And also seeing Martin's mum and dad there, who have since passed away, my own gorgeous sister-in-law, Margaret, who has since passed away. And it's nice to look back and relive a lot of those memories again. So I would recommend, if you can afford it, have a videographer. I found this actually on a site called Little More Planner, and I really loved how they put the following tips together. So I'm going to read them out to you. Every couple should never forget to do the following 10 things. And I love this because, an awful lot of the tips I give would be about the wedding day, preparing for the wedding. And I talk to various different suppliers, about a wedding day, and I get their tips as well. But here are things that you do need to think about after the wedding. True love lasts forever, doesn't it? Well, at least the majority of people believe so. However, it's not only the love itself that makes a relationship work for years. It's also about the people and what they want to make work. Just being together and being in love may be enough for the first year, but then you'll need to try harder. And you do actually really need to try harder. And here are some of the things for couples to do at every stage of their relationship. So 1, go on dates. Martin and I have always talked about this, and we've always done it. It used to be a Saturday night where, I'd come home from a wedding wrecked, and Martin would be all there, aftershave on, shaved on, shower done, and he's there in his finest. And I'm thinking, oh God. And it would take me every bit of energy to get myself up to the shower, get myself organised, have a shower, get into a nice dress and head out and go on a date. But by God, was it the best thing? It was the best thing we ever did. Now, our date nights sometimes now can be a date night in the house because of the way we both work. And now Martin works at the weekends, but we still make time for each other. And I think that's really, really important because, you go off and you'll have children and the children grow up and they move on and they move out. And when that happens, you still might need to love the person that you married, and you still want to have all of those lovely things in common. So you do need to work on it. So number 2, travel together. Nothing brings people closer than flying, of course, because you're sitting right next to them on their knee. You make plans together, you see new exciting views, and you get to make great memories to remember for years and years to come. So don't be those people who don't travel together, move to a new place every year. That we're not great at that, because when we go off on holidays together and we find somewhere we love, we kind of go back there again and again. Like we've gone to Tenerife now for the last, I think, 4 years in a row, or before COVID we went as well. But when you find somewhere that just works, Martin and I tend to go back there. So we probably should move around a bit more and make other memories. But I think going on holidays and spending time together is very important. Do things together. So it's imperative to spend quality time together, whether you prefer watching TV together, working together, cooking together, dance classes. We won't be doing that. Or going for a walk, or just, chatting at home. The most important thing is to enjoy each other's company. That really is so important. Number 4, have your hobbies as well. So no matter how much you love your partner, being together all the time, you also need to find stuff that you love to do separately. I always think that, when a couple get married and they go up and they light the unity candles at the top of the aisle, they're the 2 single candles, which represent them as single people or individual people. And then they light the middle candle when they're married. I love when those 2 outer candles are still left lit, because I still think, they are 2 individuals, and yes, they're married, but they're 2 individuals. What drives me mad is when the priest goes up and blows out the single candles and leaves the middle ones. Like, oh yeah, so you're gone now, and you're together, and your individuality is gone. I just love how, you can be together, but you can also have your life outside of each other too. I think that's very important. Have traditions. Traditions are a great part of every community, big or small. Traditions in a family are also fundamental. Cultures can be different, starting from one more common ones, such as celebrating big holidays. So a big, tradition in our house is Christmas. I was brought up and my mother hated Christmas, which was a big thing in our house. And growing up as a child, she just never liked Christmas, still doesn't like Christmas to this day. My dad loved Christmas. So when I met Martin, I call him a Christmas-aholic. Martin loves Christmas and starts talking about Christmas in August. Starts talking about decorating the tree. Actually, my trees in the back garden, we have these small little trees. And he put Christmas lights on them. We got a little bit of an extension done about 5 years ago. And he put Christmas lights on them to do up. And those lights are still there. So it's Christmas in my garden, every night of the year. But he starts talking about Christmas in August. And I'd say if he could put up the Christmas tree in September, he would. So Christmas in our house is a big tradition. And he really dislikes taking down the Christmas tree as well. Hug and kiss every day. That's important. Many happy couples kiss and hug every day. Psychologists say that thanks to such personal contact, couples develop devotion and affection towards each other. It improves their spirit and they trust one another and feel safe. Such intimacy is crucial for every relationship. Now, I don't know, if you'd be throwing the leg over each other every day, but hugging and kissing is important. Okay, I'm so very bold. Number 7, do small things for each other. Surprising each other and making each other feel special is a must for any relationship. Paying a compliment, giving flowers, cooking his or her favourite dish, writing a love letter. Some of those things might appeal to you, some of them may not. But I think doing small things for each other is really, really important. Number 8, share your responsibilities and help each other. So the times when men were responsible for financial stability and women for household are long over. By God, they are. Now often both spouses work and provide for family. Household responsibility should be shared as well. If you see that your beloved one is especially tired today, take his or her household responsibilities this time. But I think fundamentally, you know, you do need to share the responsibilities and respect the fact that both of you work, and, you know, you've also got a house to run and on most occasions, children to rear. So just help each other out. Number 9, always be honest. Always be honest. Always tell your partner the truth, even if it's not very pleasant. Don't let your loved one doubt your honesty. Distrust is one of the main reasons for losing the harmony in relationships. Happy couples value honesty and are always sincere with each other. So trust is a big thing in my house. Respect and trust. I think that's probably why Martin and I get on so well together. I'd never take him for granted. I'd never, put him out to do something if I haven't asked him, would he like to do it? So definitely, not taking each other for granted is a big thing, and trust is trust is the biggest thing in every relationship, especially in our house. Make love and talk about it. So this made me laugh out loud. Physical love is as important as emotional love in a relationship. If there are both of these components, it is magical. Have sex regularly and talk about things you like and don't like in bed. No. That's going to work for some people and it probably won't work for others. But, make love and talk about it. I don't know if you need to talk about it, but making love is really, really important. So being open here is very important. Spice things up once in a while too, and do something different to make it more attractive for the two of you. I definitely think trust in a relationship and respecting each other is absolutely everything. Now, I really hope you loved the podcast this week. I loved answering your questions. I really like it when you send me in your questions. So please, please, please keep doing that. And I will see you back here again next week.